welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Ghostrunner 2 walkthrough, and this is mission 1 called Uninvited Guests. No. I'm just messing about. This is mission 13 called Mindgames. Because we are now inside Cyber Void, and this looks exactly like the first level of the game. So I just couldn't resist messing about a little bit in the beginning. And the first part of this level is gonna look very familiar to you and feel very familiar. This is an exact copy of the first level. That will very soon change, I promise you. And this level will start glitching out and looping over, and we will get, this is very exposition heavy level. Because here we will learn more about Mitra and Madhu, Rahu, Ahriman, and their agenda. Because I talked a little bit about that in, I think it was the previous video, that they are the original Ghostrunners. What you find out in this level is actually that Mitra is the very first one. I almost said patient zero, but that is not a correct term in this situation, but the very alpha of the Ghostrunners. And by the way, you gotta admit, that was pretty clutch. Now where was I? So impressed with my own skill. No. As I said, Mitra, Madhu, Rahu and Ahriman were the first Ghostrunners created by Adam. And for anyone who has played the first game, you know that Adam was the architect, the one behind Dharma City, who was once a human and then became an avatar, a ghost inside a machine that ran Dharma City, and he is the one that accompanies you throughout the first game, or for the most part, wants you to help him, but you realize that he's doing a double bluff. By the way, that clone enemy back there, for anyone who hasn't played Project Hell, I'm just gonna talk about that for a little bit, because what it does, the first enemy splits himself into, what is it, like 5 or 6. If you manage to kill the one that is the alpha, so to speak, all the rest of the clones will die. They were an enemy in Project Hell, and in Project Hell, if you went into bullet time or sensory boost, you could see which was the real one. For some reason they didn't do that in this game. But that is the only clone enemy you will encounter, so it doesn't really matter. But I thought I would mention it either way. By the way, this is a bit of a puzzle. Make sure you follow the same path as I did, because as you saw at the top of the screen, you have to take out all those orbs in the correct order. And you get 5 seconds in between each one of them. And here you saw a little transition. That is because whenever you beat one of those puzzles and kill the enemies that show up afterwards, or when you beat the puzzle, you get some exposition, and then some enemies show up, and when you beat them you get some more exposition. That's what I was gonna say. And I have trimmed that out, but that is the origin story of Mitra, the main antagonist of the game, or Gyges as he was called when he was still a human. Because Adam, as I talked about, the architect, he created Mitra as the first Ghostrunner. And the official version of the Ghostrunners were that they were supposed to be a police force, so to speak, to keep the peace in Dharma Tower. But you realize that Adam more or less used them as a hit squad.
Are you kidding me?
They weren't supposed to keep peace as such, as much as his peace, like a lovely dictator, and destroy any people that try to go up against him. And what's interesting in this level, that you don't only find out about Mitra, his origin and how he became Mitra from Gyges. You also have conversations with Rahu, the avatar, in here, because as I said, or I may have said, Rahu is more or less the king of Cybervoid. Because Rahu was a Ghostrunner, but he was picked apart by Adam. Because they rose up against him, they rebelled. Mitra, Ahriman and Rahu. Or Ahriman didn't. Either way, they rebelled against Adam. And the punishment for doing so, for Rahu at least, was to be dismantled and picked apart and just left as an AI trapped inside Cybervoid. By the way, here is puzzle number 2, and to take this on we're gonna move over here and go around this counterclockwise. So jump up on this booster pad. Come on, there we go. Make sure to hit the sphere as you go past. It makes it so much easier. And I like these puzzles, even though they are a bit stressful because the timer always resets to 5, so you don't get much time in between them.
2 to 3 months. Any faster,
But anyway, where was I?
not be stable.
Yes, talking to Rahu and the fact that he is inside Cybervoid. What we learn going through here and learning the backstory of Gyges / Mitra is that Mitra is probably not the one he thinks he is. Because Adam was so hell-bent on creating this super
Requires time.
Ghostrunner in a quick time. So him and Mara, or Mara being the designer of Mitra, more or less had to scramble his brain instead of augmenting it, as they say in one of those cutscenes. So Mitra might not be who he himself thinks he is. It gets very existential, very philosophical. That he may be some kind of AI that thinks he is Mitra, but he isn't. And quite interesting. I'm not gonna talk too much about it because I don't wanna. I want to let you experience some of the story yourself, I say at the end of that long rant. But I think it's quite interesting with the Ghostrunners, because the Ghostrunners have quite an interesting design flow when you think of it. Because this game being designed the way it is, Jack, or this might be unique for Jack, but Jack is a glass cannon. You are super powerful. You can kill any and all enemies in one single slash of your sword. But he himself also dies from a single hit. You don't think that is quite a big flaw in the design? By the way, these spinning platforms, you want to make sure that you hit this one when the first platform with the sphere on is just by you. Not the second one, make sure it's the first one. Wait for as long as you can before you destroy the second one, just before the timer reaches 0, because this is quite tight. And then we go over to the last one. Yes, because when you design a super weapon like a Ghostrunner, I think, unless you're super confident in their fighting skills, wouldn't it be favorable to make sure they can sustain more than one hit? And there you heard, I'm not sure if you could hear it, hopefully you could, but you hear a conversation in between Adam and Mitra, where Mitra screams at him. Because here you get a glimpse into the entire process, from him being transformed from a police officer, I think he is, or was as a human, into the original Ghostrunner. And I talked about that back in Pillars of Creation, that I really tip my hat to the guy who does the voice of him. Because he screams in such a way, I get chills down my back hearing his voice. There is so much emotion, there is so much anger, so much frustration and hate towards Adam. So I really look forward to, I don't know, I've looked him up quickly, but I couldn't really recognize him from other games. But I would love to see, I would love to hear more of him in the future. Hopefully they'll do a walkthrough. I'm the one that does the walkthroughs. Hopefully they'll do an expansion where perhaps you get to play as Mitra. Then I can do a walkthrough for that one. But I think he is a really interesting character, and his story is all in all nothing special. It's quite a classic revenge story, because since Adam is dead, or the architect is dead, killed by Jack at the end of the first game, Mitra feels that now he can arise once again, and he wants to bring Dharma Tower to its knees as revenge for what Adam did to him. Just because he suffered, he wants everyone else to suffer as well. Which isn't the most original story, I admit, but it is well written. By the way, now is the next puzzle. Here you want to go with the first platform. No, I tell a lie, the second platform. The backmost platform with a purple sphere on it. And wait for as long as you can before you break it. And go into the teleporter, which will move you over to the other side. And that will line you up with the first platform. The one you're not supposed to jump on. And that one is quite tight. It took me a few tries the first time, first of all, before I managed to figure out the correct order to do it in. And also, going up to the very last one, I think that is a really tight window. And the reason I'm moving up here is this is where the checkpoint drops you off. So in case you don't manage to beat all the enemies on your first try, make sure as soon as you respawn, turn to the left. Because that key, as soon as the fight triggers, he will start shooting at you, and he will put you in a death loop in case you're not quick to turn your attention to him and either block or parry one of his bullets. Yeah. That got a bit hostile, didn't it? But now, since we're going through here and we learn the story of Mitra, Rahu has a change of heart. And he realizes that Mitra needs to be stopped. He cannot help him. And he wants to go into the cyber void of Dharma City and take the place of Adam and just live out his sort of cyber life in peace and not interfere in what the humans do. So he agrees to help you in stopping this rebellion, if you want to call it. So all that remains to do now is go up to Rahu. I really like the design of him, and I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.